Oh, absolutely. And you're kind of seeing that right before his eyes. And I think it's a shock to Johnny. And he's going to have to reinvent his game because he showed yesterday he's not the best athlete on the field. He can't just run around and get away from people. He's going to have to get better within the pocket. And, that's just the facts. And, I think he understands that. And he's got a long way to go to get there. It's going to be a long process. It's going to be a frustrating process. And, the question is whether the Browns will give him enough time and put enough faith in him to go through that process with it.
Tim is right.
Tim's on a problem that we're going to be talking about next.
No, go ahead, Kenny.
Go ahead, Kenny.
No, I was going to say, my son called me yesterday, and he said Johnny Football should be watching film of Russell Wilson. That's the quarterback who he is closest to in the NFL right now. He's not Drew Brees, okay? Forget just because of the size. He's not Drew Brees. He's more of a mobile guy, and we saw what happened to RG3 and Cam Newton taking all the hits. If there's anybody he should emulate, watch film of, try and learn from, is similar in size, stature, and all that, it's Russell Wilson. So get every tape that Russell Wilson has out there of every game and start studying what Russell Wilson does.
Well, let's be honest, though.
Cameron's right.
Drew Brees is Mensa. Drew
Yeah,
Brees is a smart guy. Johnny looked like –
I was just going to say that.
I don't want to rip –
Cam is right, Kenny. But same as Drew Brees, I feel like Wilson uses his legs, but he plays between his ears. Johnny is used to playing with legs and thinking later. He's got to switch that completely around.
I agree 100% with you, and it comes down to studying the playbook. And let's be honest, guys, how many plays did they really run yesterday? You think maybe they had like 15 plays
they had
that they were going with, and that's
yesterday.
about it because that's all Johnny can handle?
You're right, Kenny. There was not a lot out there, and what they did give him, he couldn't even put out
Eric,
there.
referee, go.
Scary.
All right, as if it can't get any worse, let's talk about the defense. 244 yards on the ground, and then this is the stat that really gets me. Time of possession, 38 minutes for the Bengals, just 21 for the Browns.
Jeez.
Can I start?
Go. I think you're going F-, but go ahead.
Yeah, F- for
that.
sure. And you know what? I give credit to Marvin Lewis because I guarantee you Marvin Lewis, every time he started a meeting or ended a meeting, he ended it by saying or started it by saying Johnny Football.
Yep.
And he'd walk out the room. He'd welcome to the meeting, Johnny Football. All he had to do was say Johnny Football all week long because that team was pissed off about hearing about Johnny Football and also 24-3. So you start the meeting with Johnny Football, you end it with 24-3, and that's all you have to say to get that team fired up, a team that's been to the playoffs 3 years in a row against a team that's been to the playoffs one time in 16, 17 years, whatever it's been. And the Browns defense yesterday had no chance, zero. And don't get me wrong, they did a nice job against Andy Dalton, the pass defense. They didn't have to worry about throwing the football to the Bengals. All they had to do was turn and give it to Jeremy Hill. He ran for over 140 himself, and they ran for over 200 as a team. So don't bring in the fact that they only threw for 100 and some yards. It didn't matter. All they had to do was run the ball yesterday. They got dominated at the line of scrimmage.
Let me just say this. Joe Hayden got hurt yesterday, and I'm not making excuses, but they were down 20-0 before the end of the half, and if the offense would have just woke up once for one series, it might have been a little bit of a different game. And once they went down and saw the offense was going to be as bad in the second half as it was in the first half, they I think the defense just put their arms up and said, we are sick of carrying this team. You guys let us down unbelievable last week, over the last couple weeks. I have no expectations for my offense to come back. So you know what? You suck. We suck. This whole team stinks today.
That may have happened, but I got to tell you something. That's a problem because pride-wise, Jeremy Hill, just like Marvin Lewis ran his mouth, and Kenny is right. He probably went in that room and said, Johnny Football did the money thing and midget probably 15 times in the score of the game. But where's the Browns' defensive pride? Jeremy Hill basically thumbed his nose at you a month ago. And then he came out and shoved it down your throat. And I saw a play from Mingo yesterday, and I'm not calling him out. But if you go back and you watch that last touchdown, he just kind of thuds into the running back. That's a problem when you're first-round pick. And I know that the guys that are here now didn't draft him. But where is the pride? Where is it? You want a guy that's a first-round pick to say, the hell with the score. You're not running down my throat. They had no pride yesterday. They punched him in the mouth, and they rolled. That is a problem going in the offseason, guys, that they rolled over the way they did.
Tim, grade.
It was awful. I gave him a D. I think there's nothing more demoralizing to a defense than getting the football just run right down your throat, and that happened to him. But I can't give him an F because the offense has to help out in that as well. If the offense is going 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and the other team's game plan is to come in and run the football down your throat, and you're having to get right back out on the field as a defense, you just don't have any energy. You don't have any life in you to go out and stop that run when teams are just committed to pounding it on you. So the offense didn't help him out at all, but the defense Tackling was awful yesterday. They couldn't get it going. They had no energy, like you guys said. So it was a bad performance.
Tim, that's a friend of the show comment there.
Yeah.
If you agree with me a little bit, you're a friend of the show. What do you got next, Eric?
All right, how about those special teams? Guess what? The Browns did not miss a field goal attempt.
Well, and you know what?
They
Let's
didn't
be
take
honest.
one either.
Show the grades, baby. Show the grades. I gave him an A.
For what? Trying out a new kick returner 4
Because
times?
Garrett Hartley was unbelievable yesterday. That guy did not miss a kick.
I was waiting for
that. Was an A performance. I've never seen a place kicker look better. They snapped the streak of missing field goals yesterday.
Listen to you.
You have to find some kind of optimism
Stop
in
it,
this thing.
Sunshine. Stop it. I was waiting for Dennis Northcutt to take the next kickoff. What the hell is going on? It's a new guy every single time. We had guys I didn't even know who the hell they were. I'm going to the media guy. Who's 20 or 30? I don't even know that guy. Who are these guys they're returning kicks with? What are they doing? Oh my!
Hey, put a jersey on. You might be able to sneak
the
in.
guy in the stands that wore his uniform yesterday.
Oh, your name's
you get
on the back.
next one. What the hell is that?
Hershkowitz, you've got your jersey on. Do you have cleats? Let me get you some cleats. Come on out here. You can play special teams. Go ahead, Kenny. Special teams.
F- for me, they changed kickers on Thursday or Friday or whatever it was, guys.
Saturday
That's how
morning.
bad
Saturday.
it is with the special teams. All season long, they haven't had a punt returner. They haven't had a kick returner. Their kicker has sucked and cost them games, and they changed Friday or Saturday, whatever it was of this week. And so for me, in starting field position yesterday was an absolute joke, which didn't help Johnny Manziel at all. And so for me, straight across the board, I'm giving F minuses to everybody. 30-0 at home against the Bengals, who you beat earlier, 24-3 this year, and you're still in the playoff race. F minuses for everybody.
Tim Couch, special teams.
I just realized I'm way too nice. Kenny's so perfect. I can't even make a debate on that one. It's F minus. I gave him a B minus. Should have been F minus. Everybody gets an F from here on out from me.
Look what we've done to Tim. Look what we've done to Tim. We're ruining how positive he is.
Hey, Spencer Lanning had a 47.9 punting
I don't
average.
And
care.
Spencer Lanning did the kickoff, too.
Yeah.
What's that all about? You bring in a new guy? You can't
Play.
What's last?
You
Here, let's
get a
just keep
kickoff
going.
return. You
What
get a
do got-
kickoff
What do you got
return.
left? Coach, is that what's up?
We got the man, the myth, Coach Mike Pettin.
I like Mike Pettin.
All right, well, let's see what you put up for a grade.
I
Let's see.
gave him an F.
You gave him an F.
And I like him. And I didn't do what Kenny did.
I'll tell you why I gave him a C. But go ahead, give it.
Well, I gave him an F.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
Yeah, his team didn't respond.
Why?
Guys.
Because Mike Pettin was the only one that absolutely knew what was going to happen yesterday, and regardless of it, he decided he wanted to save his job yesterday.
Let me ask you a
Let's
question.
be honest. I mean, Mike Pettin knew, he absolutely positively knew what was going to happen yesterday. He had tried to warn every one of us of what was going to happen if Johnny Manziel got in the game. And it wasn't like they had a bad game plan. I think they knew exactly what they got, and I think that Mike Pettin sat in that room 2 weeks ago and said, guys, Johnny Manziel is the last one here every day. He's the first one out the door. I don't think he's touched his playbook. This kid showed no heart. I don't want to let him start. And then Brian let Mike Pettin down last week.
Brian did.
And really, if this whole thing, I don't even know how much of it is Johnny Manziel and how much of it is Brian letting Mike down. And we saw what Mike had to work with yesterday. Manziel has so far to go that we now look at this as a 3-game evaluation period for Johnny Manziel, when I would have said the book is wide open for Manziel. He's got 3 games this year and all of next year. Now I think people think the window is like this when it should have been like this.
All true things. Offensive game plan stunk. They didn't step up and play hard for the defense. It comes back to him. He told us. So everything you said is credible. It's an F, though. And I'll say this. Would his father have let that happen?
No, his father would have put the job on the line.
His father would have said,
But
"No,
the
with
problem
this."
is that Hoyer let him down last week.
I know.
That's the biggest issue here. Let's
What
go,
is it a
Kenny.
good job to get
Kenny,
John-
I
go
bet
ahead.
you went F minus. Go.
I did. I'm consistent, guys. Unlike the Browns, I'm consistent. I gave F minuses across the board to everybody. The defense, though, as much as Johnny Manziel wasn't ready, maybe Mike Pettin knew. What about the defense? What about the special teams? He's in charge of all of those units because you're the head coach. You control everything, and now I think this season is getting to him where they're going to lose, what is it, 5 straight to close the season, 6 out of their last 7. Think about this, guys. November 6th, Thursday night in Cincinnati. They're 6-3, all alone in first place. Here we are now in the middle of December, and they're all alone in last place at 7-7. They're 1-4 in their last 5 games, and they could end up being 1-6 in their last 7 games. And you take that momentum into the offseason.
Tim, Mike Pettin.
I gave it a D. I thought overall it was, the game plans were poor on both sides. I didn't think that, it was a little bit of it's a little tough to judge the offensive game plan because they couldn't stay on the field long enough to get into a game plan really because they were 3 and out every time they touched the football. But defensively, I was really disappointed. I thought, they would have some, some things that just, Cincinnati was not being very complicated on offense. They're just lining up and running the football, and you can't find a way to stop that. The tackling was poor. Just a bad performance all the way around. The team was awful yesterday, so it was a D for me.
All right, last thing, I just want to bring up this last point while I've got all of you here. I think that Mike Pettin put himself in a weird spot early on in the season, and I said this last night on our show. If you could rip the names off the back of these quarterbacks' jerseys, I think you have an entirely different scenario. I think that Mike Pettin didn't go to Johnny Manziel earlier in the season in a place where maybe he could have as a backup quarterback, even with a very small, limited package, to put the backup in on games where we knew that Brian wasn't playing well, and he said, all right, let's do that. But because it's Johnny Manziel, he didn't put him in. Yesterday, you're down 20-0. You've got a quarterback that beat Cincinnati twice. You've got a quarterback that has one of the biggest comebacks in NFL history. If there was ever a time you would go to the backup quarterback, it would have been yesterday. This is my theory on this thing. And Mike, one thing, and I respect him for this, he stayed consistent. For the same reasons he didn't put Johnny Manziel in the beginning of the season, he didn't put Brian Hoyer in yesterday. But I think Mike backed himself into a corner because it was Johnny Manziel, because it was all the hype. Tim, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you're right. You have to be careful with a guy as high profile as Johnny is because, the fans obviously, early in the season they wanted to see Johnny, and every time Brian would make a bad throw, everyone wanted to see Johnny, see the new, the rookie come in and see what he could do. But, it's once you make the decision to go to that rookie and you kind of turn things over and you go in that direction, I think it's very, very difficult to go back to the veteran at this point. I think that it sends a tough message to Johnny. When you're a rookie, I've been there. And you're out there struggling, and they go back to a veteran on you, that kind of feels like that they're giving up on you really, really quick. And, I think that's one thing they can't send that message to Johnny right now is because they have to give him an opportunity to grow in this league and grow as a quarterback. And if you go back to Brian right away, even in his first start, I think it just, it's really tough mentally on the kid. And, he probably, Johnny was playing poorly enough that, Brian, he could have made a justification of putting Brian into the game. But I think it sends a really tough message to a young player.
All right, Coach Rhoda.
Real quick, to add to your point, I can't believe I'm saying this. What do you think the % chances are that Mike Pettin could actually lose his job?
All right, let's finish this conversation, and we'll get to Eric, the referee.
Damn, y'all some hardcore people.
Go, Coach Rhoda, go.
It's a possibility.
Which one do you want me to answer? Eric's or yours?
Answer them both.
Answer them both. Fire everybody.
First start with the screen. I don't know what question to answer.
All right, let me ask you. First, start with this. Would you put Hoyer back in the game yesterday?
No, I would not have, because I think it came from above that they want to see what they have in Johnny Manziel for next year. I think when they made this switch, they gave up on this season, and they were already looking ahead to next season. And that's why after the game, even though he's reluctant to say it because he probably would like to put Hoyer back in the game, he's going to be forced to play Johnny Manziel so they get more film on him and they can study him in the offseason. It's about next year, not this season.
All right, next, does Mike Pettin have to worry about his job? I would say just even based on last year, it's got to be a little bit in the back. I would hope that he doesn't, though.
I don't think he has to worry about his job, but then again, we've seen this organization, different owner, different general manager, doesn't matter. Coaches come and go. They don't mind paying them because they have money to burn. So I would think he doesn't. The only thing I would say is if Jimmy Haslam's dream candidate would decide to come out of the broadcast booth and be willing to take over as team president and as the head coach of this football team, then maybe Mike Pettin would have to worry about his job. And, of course, I'm talking about John Gruden right there. But if it's anybody but John Gruden, I don't think he has to worry
So the Walmart khakis doesn't do anything for you?
No. They become a joke to me. I'm sorry, Kenny. They're a joke of the NFL if they fire this guy. The rest of the NFL laughs at you, and they go, "Yeah, I'll take." They're
already laughing.
They are already laughing, but you got to stop this. You got to stop the coach carousel. You have to stop it. You pick this guy, ride it out for 3 years, and shut up and stay out of the way. That's part of the problem here, and I'm so sick of it. There's not Gruden in a booth because he ain't coached in 10. Let's be honest. He really hasn't done anything in years, and I'm not Kenny. I get it. He's a sexy choice. I get it. But he hasn't done a darn thing in years. He doesn't want to come in here and do that. And don't give me the guy that's moving to Strongsville or anything else. You pick this guy, lay in bed with him, be next to him like a normal organization, and stop this. This is part of the problem in Cleveland, that every time something goes wrong, we put in a rookie quarterback and we fire the coach. Nobody else in the NFL does it. Al Davis is in his grave laughing at us.
John Gruden is looking for a house in Hunting Valley right now. All right, Kenny, we'll talk to you later. Tim, we'll leave you with that last question right there. Tim, your thoughts on if Mike Pettin needs to be worried?